Welcome to Ellie's Attic Show, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Ellie, and today my surprise is a band with a very interesting story. The New York City-based band specializes in the majestic power rock of the 1970s and early 1980s, and they do it well. Please welcome Mark Rigula of Ivory Tower Project. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
How
Hi, Al.
are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. Now, your story touched my heart, and I love the premise behind Ivory Tower. So basically, I'm going to let you tell me, Mark, the story, the journey.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, Ivory Tower, the phrase is a metaphor for a place of refuge from the rest of the world. Of course, there are other definitions, but that's the definition that we use, that we choose to use what Ivory Tower is. And for us, music has been our refuge from having to deal with the world. Tony and I and the other bandmates, when we started out back in the 1980s, we all had to work day jobs. And it wasn't, some of us had to do some, had to deal with some pretty lousy things during the day job, but music was the escape. So we look forward to that. We look forward to our time together. We look forward to creating together and making music together and making our own sound. Of course, the music was influenced by the music of the 70s and 80s at that particular time. And not long into the evolution of our band, where we had our first recording session in March of 1983, and just a few months after that, our original drummer and good friend Sal D'Angelo had died from complications of a bone marrow transplant.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it was kind of devastating to have something like that happen. When he was a creative force, he was an encouraging force, and he brought so much to the band. We had to take a break a little bit, but we knew that we weren't going to stop. At least I knew I wasn't going to stop. Tony didn't want to stop, because we knew Sal would have wanted us to go on with our lives and with our passion, and music was our passion.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, one of the other members of the band, our original bass player, he was devastated, and he found his calling somewhere else. He actually became a Catholic priest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he gave notice. He stayed with the band until maybe the beginning of the following year, but he gave notice around then and said, "Look, I can't do the music anymore. It just brought him too much sadness. I guess it reminded him too much of Sal."
Mm-hmm.
So we found another bass player, and we had to, of course, find another drummer. And we experimented with members, but the losing of our rhythm section, bass and drums, made us, when we went into the studio to start completing the recordings of our first album, it made us realize that perhaps we should look to getting the best possible. So what we ended up doing was, through the connections in the recording studio that we had, we were able to get Ivan Elias to play bass on a number of the tracks in our first album. Now, Ivan was the original bass player for the band Patti Smythe and Scandal.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so he was quite, although he's not celebrity per se, like Patty Smythe was,
Mm-hmm.
he was a a, magnificent talent to have as a resource to work on our music with us. So he ended up playing on 4 tracks that I wrote, and on a couple of tracks that the other member in our band, Henry, at the time, Henry Kessler, had written. So it kind of brought, even though what we were doing in the beginning sounded professional, it brought us to a new level of professional,
Mm-hmm.
having him there.
Mm-hmm.
And additionally, we also, by the connections that we had with the engineer and the owner of the recording studio, he had a connection to a sax player because at that particular time, when we were recording, our band member, who happens to play, he was a jack of all trades. He played keyboards, he played saxophone, he played flute. He was a multi-instrumentalist. But what I was looking for in the sax wasn't what he was doing in the studio. So, at the suggestion of the recording, the owner of the recording studio, Fred Guarino, he had gotten Richie Canada to play saxophone on our recordings. Now, I don't know if you are familiar with that name, but Richie is the original sax player for Billy Joel.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yes, so it was really an experience to get someone who, in the peak of Billy Joel's day, in the late '70s and early '80s, Richie was almost as famous as Billy was.
Yeah, especially in the
So
videos.
It was an honor, and he had also another man with a colossal talent who added his little bit, that gave the songs that he played on another dimension, which I really appreciated. It really brought it up to a new level of professionalism. So the unfortunate thing with Ivan, however, is that he had passed away about 20 some odd years ago from cancer.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I was in contact with his brother. He had contacted me. He at first he never heard of Ivy Tile Project, but I guess he was doing some Google's searches of his brother's name and found that to be associated with our group, and he ended up purchasing our album and contacting me, and it was nice to I wasn't in contact with Ivan since the recording sessions originally back in the '80s, but it was nice to be able to hear from his family and to know what had happened.
Yeah.
We're still in touch once in a while. I tell him every time that we got a recording out, for him to check it out. So it's nice.
Yeah.
To be able to make connections.
Exactly.
Because I guess that's what the thing about music is it's the resonance of touching other people's souls.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So that was our basic, our early history.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forwarding to within the past, 10 years, what had happened to me was back in 2009, I was working a day job, and I had gotten into a car accident, which it gave me a bad case of whiplash, and what had been done because disability would not assist in getting any type of therapy, physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I'm in chronic pain whenever I try to stand or walk.
Oh my goodness.
I basically cannot walk without the aid of two canes. If I have any type of have to travel any kind of distance, I'd have to do it in a wheelchair. So it's pretty much left me crippled.
Oh my goodness.
It didn't happen back then in 2009, but it was a gradual degradation of my health.
I'm so sorry, Mark. I know exactly how you feel. I have chronic pain and I have RA.
Yeah.
So in hearing that, like, do you guys perform on stage and stuff?
No, we cannot.
Okay.
Because of my situation,
Yeah.
we're at the point where no one's really going to pay you to play original music unless you're at that status of celebrity, and we're not.
Yeah. Okay.
So if Tony, who is our guitarist and the heart of Ivory Tower, he is considered to be the tri-state area's most popular hired gun as far as guitarist go. So he's constantly involved with painting jobs, playing guitars for live shows, Broadway shows, karaoke gigs, live karaoke gigs, that type of thing.
And we're talking about Tony Navarro.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tony, he spread himself quite thin, but what he was able to do with the money that he was able to acquire from being such a popular hired gun as a guitarist is to be able to invest in home studio recording equipment.
Mm-hmm.
That investment enabled him to have he's got a beautiful home studio, and basically I'm the guy that he records with.
Awesome.
So he gave me his cast of vote of confidence in my ability to write and the songs that I've written with Johnny. Just to take that further, of course, Johnny Jace, he was there from the beginning. We grew up as lifelong friends, and unfortunately, Johnny, back in 2003, I believe. 2003 in December, he had died of complications of heart failure.
Oh my goodness, Mark, you've had so much loss around you.
Yeah, that's the Ivory Tower story. In fact, one time I had an interview, and the person I spoke with jokingly said, "Boy, I don't want to join your band."
Oh my goodness. Well, at least you can. Well, at least you can find humor in it. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. So now, okay, so we're talking about fast forwarding to the future. I just want to read some of the things that are in your bio because I love them. So your songs burst with stirring vocal melodies, soaring vocal harmonies, polished musicianship, heartfelt lyrics, and imaginative arrangements. And you are a part of a new breed of classic rock purists, preserving the traditions set forth by masters such as Styx, Queen, Foreigner, and Boston. I can hear Styx when I listen to you, by the way, especially in one of the songs that we're going to be playing. And you've had praise from like a variety of sources: the Entertainment Bank, the Ripple Effect, Mossip, Quirky New York Chick, and Boom Boom Chick. And also, your song, your record Red Hot, has received rave reviews and airplay on over 600 radio stations in 32 countries. And as a result, from that CD, you got a nomination in a few categories in both the 2015 and 2016 Nashville Universe Awards.
That's correct, yes.
That is awesome. So what is happening now with Ivory Tower Project?
Well, the release of How Much More as a CD happened approximately a year ago, June of 2017, and we're up to close to 500 radio stations playing tracks from 33 countries from that particular album. We've been nominated earlier this year in two categories: um, Song of the Year or song "The Ides of March,"
Mm-hmm.
and the video, which is a fully animated cartoon music video for the song "Ring Around Rosie," was nominated for music video of the year. Additionally, we just found out about a week or so ago from the Josie Music Awards that the same video, "Ring Around Rosie," was nominated. The album, "How Much More," was nominated as Album of the Year, and the Ivory Tower Project was nominated as Band of the Year in the rock genre.
Well, congratulations! That is awesome.
We're quite happy with the results of others responding to our music.
Yeah. Now, let's just talk about. Okay, so I just want to, so everybody knows, you are vocals, keyboard, guitar, bass, and percussion. And Tony Navarro functions as a recording engineer, guitarist, backing vocalist, and co-songwriter.
Correct.
Okay, and it's just the two of you now?
It's just the two of us, but what we do currently now is as the word project infers, that we whenever we feel that it needs someone else, we bring someone else into the studio to record with us.
Okay.
So we recently found a couple new rhythm section of a bass player and a drummer who also doubles as percussion. So they're helping us with our most current recordings. Right now, we're in the midst of recording a few cover songs, just for the fun of it, and to release as cover songs. They won't be on an album, and then we're going to plot ahead and continue writing some more stuff and recording a third album.
Wow, you got a lot going on. So up next, you're working on new music, and I like, this is in your bio that I'm reading. It says, reflecting back on ITP's journey thus far, you say, music is what has kept us going. It's been our light during the darkness of loss. The album is a memorial to those no longer with us. I hope this music is as healing and cathartic for others as it has been for us. I hope it gives people a chance to escape their pain and fears and feel hope. And that Lauren Beman wrote that, and that is beautiful. Lauren Berman. I'm going to say that wrong. I love that everybody has a nirvana. Everybody has a place that they go to escape. Mine is my hometown where I grew up. And just reading about what you think of the Ivory Tower and making it the Ivory Tower Project is beautiful. And for you to continue going on after all the loss that you've gone through, and also your chronic pain, is just a testament to how passionate you are about this. And the fact that you want to share the healing and the hope of these songs with others is beautiful. Like, Mark, it's gorgeous. I love it.
Thank you.
Don't stop what you're doing.
I'm glad that it resonates with other people who have experienced similar or even worse things than I've had.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a firm believer, and you'll hear me say it all the time, turn the TV off, turn the music on. I believe not only is it healing, it's positive. It can bring world peace a heck of a lot quicker than I think what's happening now. And I just love that. I love that you use that metaphor. I can't tell you enough how much I love it. Now, Mark, because you've been doing this for a while and you've gone through, I'm going to say it, you've gone through hell with everything, and you're still going, and you're still positive, and you're still wanting to help others with your music. So if you had any advice to give an artist that's already out there or a new artist just starting out, what do you think you would tell them?
If you're in this for the money, don't do it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And if you're in this for the passion of the work, then that you won't find anything more satisfying. I don't think.
Wow, and that is true. And you have to do it because you love it. And I love that you touched on the fact that most musicians have to have full-time jobs because, like you said, there isn't a lot of money in it. And it makes me sad because I know there's a lot of artists that are just starting out that that's what they're all about. They want to be, the next Ed Sheeran or whatever the case may be. And I think they lose focus of what music can do for people and how passionate they should be about what they're doing, about their craft. So I'm glad you touched on that. Now let's talk about the two songs that we're going to hear. Um, Tell me about Please Tell Me.
Okay, please tell me. It was written by our guitarist Tony Navarro. Tony had was influenced by a recording that was written by Stevie Wonder but recorded by Jeff Beck, and it was an instrumental. The name of the song was called "Cause We Ended as Lovers." It was very soulful and moving as a piece of music. But the lyrics of the song, when he handed it to me, because I ended up singing the lead vocals on that. When I read it on the surface, it sounded like a sad song of a person who had lost love. And at that particular time, it wasn't far from a time where Tony had lost a girlfriend, and I figured this was his way of working through it.
Mm-hmm.
But when we talked about it, he revealed to me that actually the lyrics were about Sal, our original drummer, who died 4 months after our first recording session.
Mm-hmm.
So me, it was like, I have to do justice to this vocal track to make sure that. So it was a combination of rock and soul.
And so that's where I hear Sticks in that song.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
just so you know.
So, that's it's amazing what we hear, and then what other people what they hear, and it can be surprising. And to me, there's no right or wrong. So long as it's a positive resonance with the listener, that's important.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful song. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. Now let's talk about Ring Around Rosie, which is more of an uplifting song, but I love the message in that one too.
Yes, Ring Around Rosie is a song that Johnny had written the lyrics to. He handed it to me, and I was like, oh, this is good. So it's idealistic, romantic love, and I came up with this background and melody that was somewhat simple, and originally I was thinking of doing the middle section, which I composed, which was totally different from the verses and the chorus, as a 3-part harmony thing, because I was thinking Beach Boys
Mm-hmm.
at the time. But that was the original arrangement, 3-part harmony, no guitar solo. But as music, constantly evolves and changes, people are, I think, will be more into hearing the guitar solo, and especially now, a lot of the music that came out in the early part of the millennium, was an awful lot of melody, heavy guitar, but they really didn't show the melodic side of guitar soloing. And Tony is a master at that, and that's when I decided, kill the vocals, Tony, you do a solo with this section, and he just nailed it.
He did. It's a great song, and I love you're putting a ring around Rosie, and that's what it means. And because when I first saw it, I was like, ring around Rosie, and then I listened to it, I'm like, oh, he's gonna propose. I get it now. But yeah, the guitar solo in there is
genius of Johnny Jace as a lyricist.
oh wow, yeah,
it really was. I lost, it was like losing an arm.
Yeah,
losing him as a lyricist at that time. But I still have perhaps dozens of lyric sheets from him.
oh,
So
wow.
that is going to be the basis of what the new material will be.
Awesome. That is so cool. And you're still honoring
even though
him.
he's gone.
Yeah, you're still honoring him.
Yes, his lyrics will live.
Yeah, exactly. They'll live on forever. Well, Mark, thank you so much for taking time to come on the show. I was not only impressed, like I said, with your music, which I love because my music list is 70s, early 80s, like all throughout. I was also touched by your story. So I am so glad that you came on and shared everything. And I wish you the best going forward. And I can't wait to hear the new music. And anything new happens, Mark, you're more than welcome to come back on the show anytime.
Very much for having me. And yes, I look forward to talking with you again.
Yeah, definitely. And everybody can purchase your music online as well as your website, which is ivorytowerproject.com. That's going to be up on my website. People can click on it and go directly to your website. They can see your YouTube videos and listen to more of your music and kind of hear more of your story. And yeah, thank you so, so much for coming on, Mark.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic Show. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprises you'll find in my attic. Cheers.